Welcome to this episode of the Getting Intimate podcast. My guest today is Vanessa E. Kalo. She's an integrative psychology practitioner whose work with addiction recovery in Arizona, USA has been touching me so deeply and also inspired the sense of hope. So, let's get intimate with addiction recovery work and how the access bars comes into all of that. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So how did it all begin? How did you end up in Arizona working with addiction recovery? Well, at the time I was living in Puerto Rico, and I got the call from a participant that I had given an access bars class to in Arizona. And at the time she was working in hospice and had hospice clinics. And so she was interested in the access bars or took my class initially to contribute to that. However, she was ready for something different. She wanted change. She had been doing hospice for decades. And she just really wanted a different space. And so when she reached out, she had asked, I'm going into behavioral health, specifically addiction recovery, and I would love for it to have a part of my vision is for it to have a holistic component to it. And would you be interested? Part of the vision that I saw is for them to be able to manage their triggers and their cravings in being able to give to each other. And what are the possibilities in them having this during their time of recovery, in rehab?
Yes, let's dive a little deeper into the tools. So you were both using the tools of access consciousness, and one of the main ones was and is the access bars. So if somebody is listening to this and don't know what the access bars is, could you give like a really quick explanation about how the bars works and maybe even how you presented it to the clinics?
When I present it to the clients, and especially the men, because you can only imagine, because it's not just individuals that are coming off the streets and wanting change. It is individuals coming out of prison as well. They're
Yeah.
coming out of prison, they're coming out of jail. So even some of my clients are full men, big muscles, bald head, tattoos all over the body. And it's been amazing to see them exchanging bars with each other. So when you say, how do I present it to them? It's definitely, I have to ask a lot of questions as to what wording is best for them to receive. And what typically invites them the most is when I let them know it is an opportunity to release a lot of trauma, to release a lot of stress, and to make it, I really present it to them in the way where I explain to them that there is a charge of energy behind emotions and behind our thoughts. And so I put it in perspective from a number of 1 to 10, with 10 being a panic attack or full blown aggression of, being destructive, or depression to the level we can't get out of bed. And so I tell them maybe the emotion won't go away completely. You may still feel sadness or anxiety or frustration, but it will no longer be at a level 10. It'll come down to a 5 or a 4. And then I tell them, and what are the possibilities of you receiving this with you reducing your numbers that much and you being able to now apply what you're learning in recovery? And then the minute that they try it, I mean, it's instant. It's amazing to me to see it. And because we're at the clinic, we can't usually do a full hour. And so they usually do about 20 minutes. And I always tell them, especially when they're waking up, I'm like, those only 20 minutes. Can you imagine the possibility 60 minutes can create? And they're like, oh, when can we do 60 minutes? And so and that's when I invite them, take it home, take it to your guys's, residential homes, because the possibilities of what it can create. But that's kind of how I explain it to them, a nervous system regulation technique, a stress reliever, to take the edge off, so to speak, because that's where they're at. They're definitely trying to get a hold of everything because they're used to using drugs to numb those things.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And that is really the way I came into contact with you was when I was working on this presentation, which was for what Vanessa mentioned, Bars in Business, which is a way where we're introducing this particular technique that Vanessa just described. And we're working on getting that out to all kinds of companies, schools, organizations all around the world. And I was working on a presentation where I'm putting together stories from all over the world of how people have been using the bars. And Vanessa's story, well, it wasn't just your story. Your and your client's story really touched everyone who watched it. So I thought we could watch it now and then talk a
Yes.
little bit about it.
Oh, yes.
Hello everyone, I am Vanessa from Phoenix, Arizona. I am an Access Bars facilitator. I've been spreading the bars since 2019, and I am really grateful to have recently been bringing the bars to addiction recovery centers and opening all the possibilities. And so I am very enthused and excited to share with you all some of the stories from them of possibilities and change that it has created. What else is possible, and how does it get better than this?
Hello, my name is Lily, and I just wanted to check in with you guys to let you know how Access Bars has impacted my life in my recovery. In the beginning of recovery, I had a lot of anxiety, and I couldn't handle my stress or manage a lot of things that were coming at me on a daily basis. And Access Bars has helped me to calm down. It's gotten me to get in touch with my creative side. It's opened up areas of my life that have allowed me to be at peace. And I would recommend Access Bars to anybody that is struggling in recovery or needs a way to relax from anxiety and stress.
I just wanted to say that I am usually 100% resistant to anything holistic. I kind of always thought it was like hippie stuff. I never believed it could do any good. What good is having someone touch points on my head gonna do for me? Having said that, I've had multiple sessions of Access Bars done with Vanessa, and I am a believer. I instantly feel a difference afterwards. The tightness in my chest is gone, and my anxiety is at a very low point.
Hi, my name is Jason Hathaway, and this video is about my experience with this therapy exercise called the bars. My experience with the bars was pretty life-changing. I'm always annoyed, stressed, I move around a lot, and after experiencing bars, it calmed me down and I was able to think.
Access bars are amazing. It changed my brain, this recovery healing practice. I needed a new energy, a new restart, a new reboot, and Access Bars was my reboot. It helped calm me. It gave me true electric energy that I needed.
Hi, I'm Michael, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys about something I just recently learned about. It's called the Access Bars, and it's actually really helped me with my recovery. It's been very calming. It's almost like meditation, and I really think it's something that you should check out. I would say it's similar to acupuncture, and if you're into natural holistic teachings and in recovery, it's very beneficial that you will try it and that you enjoy it. My
name's Jesus Torres. Thank you for giving me this platform to share my story. For me, I met Vanessa, and she started performing her therapy of bars every week. And as she continued doing it, I started to feel peace. I started seeing the anxiety that I was having go away, and I started feeling better to the point where I was able to get the strength to be able to overcome my dependency.
My name is Daniel. I just wanted to give you guys a little rundown of my experience of Access Bars. I actually had been dealing with some depression, anxiety. I can tell you that just the whole experience itself really, it really helped me push through a lot of those things that were troubling me. I don't have anxiety anymore. My depression is gone. I feel amazing. Just give it a chance. You know, give it a shot, and I promise you won't regret it.
Hi, my name is Sammy. I use Access Bars all the time. I've been using it for about a year now. I use it to help reduce stress. I use it for anxiety. I use it for my depression. It's pretty much my go-to anytime I need to ground myself and regulate my emotions. I would definitely recommend it for anybody who's in recovery, especially addiction recovery. It helps so much with the day-to-day challenges that we have with that. So check it out.
Okay, we're back. And Vanessa, I wanted to ask you what comes up for you when you listen to this or watch this, since it's originally a video. What comes up for you when you hear them talk about what this has created for them and the effects the Access Bars have?
It is very rare to this very moment, Katerina, that the sensation and the what I sense and what I perceive of their healing and their openness and their possibilities, just what it opened in general. What I can sense from it just means so much, and it's just overwhelming with gratitude. I think anybody that watches it just senses the same thing. It's
Yeah.
so powerful.
And it's interesting what you're saying too, because it's very empowering to tell somebody, I like to know. I like you to tell me. And then also be very honoring. They get to tell whatever comes up for them. And if they don't want their video on there, you give them the chance to do it anyway with a photo. And I find them very, you said that before, I find them very open,
Yes.
vulnerable.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk a bit about that. Is that something you see a lot in recovery work, or is it connected to the bars? Like what's your sense around that?
Well, I will be honest that I think it's a mix of using the access consciousness tools because I facilitate them in. And so when we are in group together, we go over a variety of different topics that are meant to create, that are meant to benefit them in the recovery and to educate on what they're experiencing, what tools and techniques could be helpful, help them understand how it even led up to that, and just a variety of different things. And so I was very curious as to what can the access consciousness tools also do within the group. So then that's where we explored. And for me, the tool that they have like really flown with, other than the access bars, is pragmatism. Being pragmatic. They love it because my interesting point of view, Katerina, is they are humanoids that just were made so wrong and were the black sheep of their family, and just completely got lost in that. And so when they start connecting to the access consciousness tools and looking at things of like, oh, I don't have to do it the way society wants me to, or I don't have to do it that way, I mean, I can make it work for me. Yes, make it work. That's what matters. And that is what has made them start to open up. And then as soon as I see that, or I sense they're more open and they're excited and they feel like they have found their place again, and that's when I really go in and really introduce the access bars, and I say, I've got something else for you that I think that you will like. And so it just keeps the momentum going, but it really starts with them in group at the very beginning and just really teaching the power of asking questions. Light and heavy is a big one also that they really thrive with. So then we use it in our verbiage. Is that light for you? What is lighter for you? What does that create? And so also the idea of not seeing the world as right or wrong. I always tell them, in order for you to determine for something to be right or wrong, you need a judge. And anything can be right or wrong depending on who's judging it. And so I tell them, what you really need to look at is, what are you trying to create in your life? And what choices can you make that are going to create that? And they're actually brilliant, Katerina. They are just so brilliant and gifted. I can see completely also why they chose drugs to reduce whatever it was, because no one guided them of what to do with their potency and their intensity. And so I recognize that. I'm in front of them and I see a room full of just brilliant beings. But so they've explained to me addiction two ways is the way that they've explained it. That is very fascinating point of view, because many of them say very much the same thing, that it's like being dropped off into a video game, where they literally get uploaded into a video game and they have to work and find themselves on their way out. They say it's literally a different reality. Like, or some of them mention it like a dream. So when they come out of it, it's like they've woken up from a dream that they couldn't get out of. And others have mentioned it like a maze. Like if someone has put them in a maze and it took them years to just find their way out. And for them, when they come out of it is after they detox. They literally can feel themselves come back to themselves. And that's where they just realize, and that's where they can make the choice then. I don't want this again. I don't want to go back in the video game. I don't want to go back into the maze. And that's what helps them then continue to keep choosing to stay out of it. So then, comes the challenge of the cravings and the triggers, because physically the body gets used to the chemistry behind the drugs. And so that's what the body starts asking them for. And that's what they have to re-guide the body to choose something different. Because in the moment, that's what the craving is. But it's fascinated me, Katerina, that that's the way that they mention it. And so
Yeah.
the bars is a way for them to come to even more, because then they experience the sense of not just waking up and being more present in back into the reality of the world, but just then knowing that there's so much more than what they woke up to, what they came back to. It's very fascinating.
Yes. And then you
Yes.
said that the bar is it's about releasing. So
Yeah.
releasing judgments, preferences, or patterns. Like, what do you see the most of the shift from bar?
Well, what's interesting is when the minute that they're receiving, they either relax right away or there's a lot of laughter and a lot of play in the room. And so they love how it's not a serious thing that we get into. And I prep them for that when we get started with that. And then afterwards, when they come off of the table, just their face just looks so much lighter and they're like, wow, I have never experienced anything like that before. I just feel so good, and I love it. And then when some days pass, I'll ask them because I let them know, it also opens awareness. And so I tell them, what are you aware of now? And they're like, I know I want more. I want more of it. I want more, whatever this is. And they started requesting it. So it's no longer even on my agenda anymore for class. We'll get started with class and they'll tell me, Vanessa, is there any way we can squeeze in a bar swap today? And I'm like, sure, let's do it. So it's to the level where they're even asking for it frequently.
Have you received any feedback from like the families or personnel at the clinics? Like anyone surrounding the clients?
Yes. So I'm glad you brought up families. You even gave me chills remembering. I have a client actually that I got connected with because of one of the participants in the clinic. He pulled me to the side and he's like, Vanessa, I have a family member and I've just, my family's just so amazed at the changes that they've seen in me. And I've just told them a huge part of it is the access bars. I would love to connect you. Would you be willing to receive from my facilitator? And he's like, would you be willing to visit my family and to be able to give them a session and to work with them? And so at the moment, part of my clientele stretched to his mother and his nephew. And so the possibility that's created within the family has been amazing. So yes, it has gotten to the point where even family members have commented, "What is this and what's going on?" And even they mentioned, "I can't wait to do this to my son. I can't wait to do this to my daughter. I can't wait to do this to my mother." And so they get so excited to even share it for them to be willing to give to their family members as well.
This is a big issue in the U.S.
Yes.
Substance abuse. And so how do you see the future? Do you see any rings of the water? Are you like looking, where to next with this?
Well, two things come up for me, Katerina. The first thing is you are absolutely right. It's an epidemic at the moment in our country. I lived in Arizona in Phoenix from 2006 to 2018. Okay. And then I left and, I adventured on and lived in two other places and then came back recently in February. And when I got back, I could not believe how much it had spread. It's everywhere, under bridges, in corners of streets. I mean, it's in parks everywhere. It has completely taken over. And so now with what I'm seeing that it's creating, I look at things as it being a legitimate, a true choice of change. Of when I look around and I'm like, man, if we can get around to these individuals, what kind of awakening can that do? What kind of awareness can that spread? because they're in the predicament they're in based off of what I've seen and what I'm learning. Because this past July was a year that I've been doing this, and so I've learned so much, Katerina, on what's happening in our country and how this is showing up. And I just think to myself, so much of this is energetic. So much of this, so what are the possibilities if an energetic tool is blended into what's happening, and what change can that create? And so that's one on where I'm excited for that, because it is spreading. I have several people that will let me know. I'm gonna let my friends know to come to this clinic, because I just really feel that this is so different. This is what they've been looking for. They've been trying, and they try and then they fail, and they try and they fail. I really think this could be something different. And so it's even been promoting our clinic naturally. We've been naturally getting, popularity, because we offer something different. And so I just really can tell the ripple effect that it's already spreading even in word of mouth. And then where I'm really excited is what I had mentioned in the call with the alumni group, where we want to, another facilitator and we want to create a weekly call where they can continue, because we notice that our graduates leave the clinic super excited, super enthused, but as they get back out there and they get back into, everything that comes with the reality of things, then they start falling back into old patterns, and they start getting afraid and in relapsing. And so the facilitator and I looked at her and I said, we need to empower our graduates. They need to be able to have the ability to continue to engage in this. And so what is possible if we create a space for them to do so? And so part of what I want that space to be is once a month to get together, find a location somewhere in the city. Everybody, we're going to meet here. Let's exchange the bars. And so that way they can continue to keep receiving, and have that as a tool even after they graduate from the program.
Oh, that it just, you could just perceive the like every single person that you work with also touches all these other people. So it's like literally not just one ring, it's like rings all over.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for doing this work and just, bringing hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the chance to share it.